Hey, house guests. Welcome to today's BB23 updates and spoilers. My brain's going to explode. It has been a night, a day. It's been a full week of activities in one 24-hour period. I cannot believe everything that's been going on in this house, in the Big Brother house. I got 2 notebooks today because there's just so much to talk about. Honestly, I ran out of pages in this notebook, but also there is a lot to discuss. So our house guests of the day are, also thank you all for being here, but our house guests of the day are Isaac Benjamin Songquist and Flower Power Resists. Thank you both so much for the support. We cannot do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Okay. And I also want to thank yesterday's Super Chatters, because Super Chat is a fantastic way to support the channel and keep us doing what we're doing. So, Jesse, I messed this up yesterday too. Jesse Magalanes, Rosa Aguirre, Don MH302, Jody Cortez, AR Chan 1785, Alex Paredes, and Vajra. Thank you all so much for the super chats yesterday. And I see we have some super chats today. Sheena123, thank you so much for the super chat. And he asks, what do you think the power Julie was talking about is? And do you think Tiffany is putting a target on her back, flip-flopping on the vote this week? Okay. I have no idea what this power is. And I'm wondering if it's a 1-week thing or if it's like one of those care package situations where somebody gets something every week they're going to have something. And I'm kind of leaning towards that because I feel like they've been doing that more in the last few seasons where it's going to be like a multi-week thing where America will be voting for who gets some sort of power. But I don't know what the powers are going to be. And do I think that Tiffany is putting a target on her back? Yes, I do. And we're going to be talking about that today. I mean, how many times now this season have we been like, what is Tiffany doing? She's overplaying. But then somehow she manages to like rein it back in. But this time, I just don't know. This time it might be too far. So we'll see. But we're going to get there. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, Tiffany is speaking with Derek X right now about potentially keeping Christian. Why she got to do this right before I'm doing my live? Why? But thank you for the super chat. And he said again, now DX is pushing back. Okay, interesting. Thank you for all the updates, Jefferson, and thank you for my stage management cues. Dasha Dawn, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm so glad that you love our work. It's a lot of fun interacting with you guys, especially in these live chats. And Dawn MH 302, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm trying to keep it up, but I'm dying here. All right, so let's get started. When we left off yesterday, Christian, okay, just before I start, Alex Paredes, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I'm sorry, is it, I don't know if Alex is a boy or a girl, but Alex says, I don't want to see Tiffany go without having an HOH. Can you imagine the mayhem of a Tiffany HOH? Hide your chessboards. Like, I don't think I can handle it. My brain might actually explode. But anyway, thank you for the super chat, Alex. Okay, well, we left off yesterday. Christian and Sarah Beth are up on the block, and they're taking different approaches to their campaigning. Sarah Beth has been crying a lot, and some of the other house guests think that she's faking it a lot of the time, and they're calling her Moaning Myrtle. They're not happy about all the crying. Not into it. But Christian and Alyssa, on the flip side, have already been campaigning like crazy since the power veto ceremony. It's hard to keep up with. But they are mostly focusing their efforts on the jokers, because if they could get all of the jokers, that would be 3 votes plus Alyssa plus Xavier. That's 5, and you only need 5 to stay. So they've been working hard on those jokers. But just in case, they've also been trying to work on Tiffany and Claire, because I mean, they're supposed to have like some sort of a deal with them. So they're like, what the hell? Why do we not have Tiffany and Claire's votes? But Brittany and Big D are telling Christian, yes, you have our votes. That's a lie. Azah is saying that she needs to think about it. She needs more time. The Jokers are trying to keep Christian comfortable right now, but they are not planning on keeping him. So Christian offered the Jokers a deal. He says, if you guys keep me and I win HOH, you can be the honorary HOHs. You can pick out the music, the snacks, you can have the room, and most importantly, you can have the power, because I will nominate and target whoever you want, except for Alyssa. And I will take the blame for it. You guys don't have to get the blood on your hands. I will take the blame for it. You know, it's not going to look obvious when the Jokers are hanging out up in the HOH room all week. But anyway, Christian and Alyssa feel like the Jokers are into this. They want to take the deal. They want to accept the offer. But behind the scenes, Azah did let Xavier know, hey, Christian and Alyssa, they offered us this deal, and they did not include your safety in the deal. They just said we couldn't ask for him to put up Alyssa, not you. So just so you're aware of that. But Christian also tried to strike a deal with Derek X, and that was like 3 weeks of not going after each other. Hannah and Alyssa were also included in that deal. It's basically the same deal that they were trying to set up before, but it's not happening. Like, Derek X has already made his move here. So anyway, he also told Derek X, if I win HOH, I will target whoever you want. What if Derek X and the Jokers targets didn't line up? Like, what would Christian even do? So yeah, it's BS. But in other news, Derek X finished his Lord of the Latrine punishment. Woo! And Claire and Kyland have begun their week-long punishments. Claire is the Duchess of the Deck, and she is dressed up in a gold unitard with a playing card over it. She's got like a princess hat, and she has to play 52 card pickup every time Big Brother tells her to. And Kyland, his punishment is called the Jackass Club, and he's dressed up in a donkey costume. I love it. And he has to make club sandwiches every time Big Brother asks him to. Fun. All right. So I gotta say, they're both handling it like champs. Everybody's been handling their punishments like champs this week. So, all right, back to the game. Derek X was alone in the HOH room talking to the cameras, and this was after he had his conversation with Christian. So he's like, I don't feel like keeping Christian would benefit my game. Even if we did work together, it just doesn't make sense for me. However, he is intrigued by something Christian said, because Christian was throwing Kyland under the bus, and Christian said that Kyland said that Derek X is sneaky. So Derek X says he wants to get as much information as possible out of Christian and Alyssa this week about what Kyland has said about him, because Derek X says his next targets after Christian leaves are Alyssa, Sarah Beth, and Kyland. Not Kyland! Oh my goodness. That's wild. But he, he's split on the Kyland thing, because he also feels like Kyland would not just outright target him directly. So, he's not really sure if Kyland needs to be a priority target for him. But Derek X also says he wants to work on getting Xavier on his side, and we've seen him working on that the last few days. He's been trying to set something up with Kyland and Xavier for the three of them to work together. So we'll see what happens there. But DX was saying he wants to go to the Final Four with Tiffany, Claire, and Hannah, and he's hoping that the final two would be him and Hannah. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. So then a little later, Alyssa has a long conversation with Derek X in the HOH room. This shit was too long. Alyssa asks, was it always your plan to put Christian up on the block, or did you decide that after Brittany won the power veto? And Derek X says, I decided after Brittany won the power veto, of course. Like, Brittany was my original target, and I decided on that Sunday to put up Christian. I had to take my shot. That's a lie. He knew from the beginning of the week that he wanted to backdoor Christian. So Alyssa says that targeting Derek X was never even a thought in her head. Girl, come on. That's a straight up lie. But she brings up how Sarah Beth really wanted Hannah out last week, which is true. And she says Christian did not allow that. He was not going to get rid of Hannah. So Alyssa says, this is what happened. Like, this is my timeline of events for this week. Like, we were really pissed, all of us kings, when Sarah Beth was nominated, and Sarah Beth was saying that she wanted to target you next week, and we all went along with it. And then Alyssa says, I think Sarah Beth was scared that she wouldn't have the votes to stay up against Big D once Brittany won the veto. So that's when she went to you and she told you that we're targeting you. But really, we were just going along with what she was saying. Alyssa. Come on. Ridiculous. So then Alyssa's like, why would we go after you? We weren't on the block. Like, we have no reason to go after you. We were never coming after you. Lies! Okay. So Alyssa says she does not trust Kai or Sarah Beth. She says 75% of Sarah Beth's tears are fake. And she says, I don't think that you were totally responsible for this move. I think people were in your ear to make this move, and those people need to go. So Derek X is like, all right, well, what can I even do to help this week? I can't vote. I'm the HOH. And there's no chance of a tie because it's an odd number of votes this week. So Alyssa says, well, you could help sway the votes, specifically with the queens, Tiffany and Claire. We could use a lot of help with them. So then Alyssa just starts campaigning hard against Sarah Beth. She's saying Sarah Beth will target Hannah if she wins HOH, which I don't think is true. I think Sarah Beth's got bigger fish to fry at this point. But Alyssa's also bringing Sarah Beth's relationship status in real life into question. I can't believe they're trying to use this as part of the campaign. It's ridiculous. But she's also saying that Sarah Beth went for the $5,000 instead of the power of veto during the POV competition. And she's also pushing the narrative that maybe Sarah Beth is America's player and she's going to win extra money for making it to jury. Oh my God. This campaign is messy. Messy as hell. Messy AF. So Alyssa, she just keeps talking and talking and talking. And poor Derek X is staring at that terrible, moldy HOH room ceiling. Just like, make this stop. He's over this conversation. You can tell by the body language, but it's absolutely wild. So anyway, Alyssa's promising that she and Christian would not target Derek X or Hannah for the 3 weeks, just like Christian was proposing. But Derek X is not budging on this. He is not wanting Christian to stay. You don't put Christian up on the block and miss your shot. Once he's up there, you got to follow through. So anyway, survive that. A little later, there was some dual campaigning going on. Let me just show you the differences between the two campaigns. So Christian was campaigning to Hannah. This did not go well. This did not go well at all. So he's talking to Hannah about the 3-week ceasefire for Christian, Alyssa, Derek X, and Hannah. And Hannah's like, wow, but who is left for you to target? She's wondering, you're good with this person, you're good with this person, you're good with this person. Like, who would you actually target if you were HOH? So Hannah also brings up, she feels like she's expendable to Christian because Christian was HOH last week and he put her up on block. Yep. So Hannah's like, you were willing to risk my safety. That's a good point. And she says, you prioritized the jokers over me. You didn't put up any jokers and you put me up instead. Like, what's that all about? So Hannah acknowledges it would probably be better for her personal gain for Sarah Beth to go because, of course, Sarah Beth has had Hannah's name in her mouth. But she wants to respect the HOH's wishes. So she says, I haven't made my mind up yet. Here she goes. She also says, this is where it gets kind of crazy. She tells Christian, your time may be better spent campaigning to people that may be easier to convince. Like, I'm sorry I'm like this, but I got to go through all the facts and everything. I'm very analytical. And Hannah also gave Christian a homework assignment should he choose to talk to her about her vote again. Oh my God. So Hannah has 3 questions that she would like Christian to answer next time they talk. So she's like, give me the why of risking my safety last week. Why? What was your thought process in putting me up on the block? Number 2, help me understand What has changed between this week and last week, or last week and this week? Like, why should I trust that you're going to prioritize me? And number 3, how would keeping you around benefit my game? Not just Baby D's game, but my game. And she's expecting a full bibliography, citations, and MLA format. But seriously, the way she freaking presented a homework assignment, damn. Okay, that was wild. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Sarah Beth was campaigning to Derek X and saying, like, I want to work with you, Hannah, and Kylan. And this is something that they've been kicking around for the last few days. Her campaigning is going a lot smoother. And it's also way more minimal than Christian's is. Because let's face it, she's not as big of a target as Christian. So she doesn't have to work as hard here. Honestly, it's better that she's not campaigning that much. You know, if you're up next to a huge target like that, you don't want to talk so much that you're going to get yourself into trouble. So it's better for her to just kind of sit back. So Xavier, he checks in with Christian and Alyssa in the living room, and Xavier says, sounds like the votes are still in the air right now. No, they're not. He says it doesn't seem like it's a done deal. So Christian says, yeah, I'm getting the same vibe. I feel like I have a fighting chance still. And he feels like Derek X hasn't even decided what he wants to happen this week. Okay, Derek X made his decision when he put you up on the block as a replacement nominee. Again, Christian is not the type of player that you just put up on the block willy-nilly. You know, you need to have a plan in place. You need to know that the votes are there to pull this move off. Because you don't want Christian to stay in the game and come after you and have a reason to come after you. So he made his decision when he put you up on the block. There's no going back on that. So Xavier tells Christian, like, whatever you're doing, it's working. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. They all feel like Tiffany and Claire just want to vote with the majority. So if they can get all 3 jokers on board, then Tiffany and Claire will follow suit. So Alyssa says, we're just waiting on an answer from Azah at this point. You know, Brittany and Big D have both said that they're going to vote for Christian to stay. So we just need Azah, and then we have the 5 votes. But they want to give her some time to think things over. So meanwhile, Brittany is chatting with Claire and Tiffany outside. And Brittany says, I'm really in a pickle right now, you guys. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm in a tough spot. She says Christian and Alyssa cornered her right after Christian was nominated and asked her about her vote. And that's true. They did not waste any time on that. So she told them that she was voting to keep Christian, because what else is she supposed to say to them, to their faces? But she is not voting to keep Christian. She says, I'm not sure if or when I should break the news to Christian and Alyssa. Do I tell them today, tomorrow, Thursday morning? Not at all. Like, I don't know what to do. So Claire is thinking Brittany should probably give him a heads up. And Tiffany points out, yeah, Alyssa is still going to be here. So you don't want to, like, be on her shit list. And Brittany's like, well, yeah, but whenever people ask Alyssa who she's targeting, she always says my team. So do I really owe her anything? Oh, Brittany! Okay, I gotta say, Brittany's got a lot more confidence now that she has a competition win under her belt. So, under her black belt. So, I saw a video the other day of Brittany doing her martial arts, and I gotta say, it was very impressive. But anyway, Brittany says the vote is going to be 7-2 for Christian to go. So then Tiffany's trying to offer up some stuff that Brittany can say to Christian to let him know how she's voting. So she's like, maybe you can say that at the time they asked you about your vote, you thought that Sarah Beth was the target. That's the impression you were under. But you've since learned that Christian is the target, and you don't want to go against Derek X's wishes and have him coming after you. So you've got to go with what Derek X wants. So Tiffany says whether any of that is effing true or not, you need to believe it is and say it to them like that so that they'll believe it. That's like classic Tiffany right there. So later, Alyssa and Xavier were chatting alone in the living room. And Alyssa's like, oh, I'm going to be so upset if Christian leaves, especially before jury. And she says, all we need is Azah. And she says, I think Azah wants to take the deal. I think she wants to keep Christian. She's just waiting to give her final answer. She doesn't want to. And Xavier knows this because he's had multiple conversations with Azah where she said, like, no, I want Christian out, but I'm not going to tell him yet. So Xavier knows. But Xavier says, yeah, everybody's waiting to see what the Jokers will do. So Alyssa says, now, like, I'm not even going to be upset if Christian goes. It's just going to be more upsetting that would mean that Sarah Beth is staying because she played us like fools. Alyssa's still under the impression that Sarah Beth is responsible for this move, for Christian going up on the block. So I don't know why Alyssa and Christian are not like, oh yeah, it makes total sense that Christian will be up on the block. He's a huge competition threat. He's part of the Kings. He's part of a showman's. Like, it would make sense that he is a huge target. So I don't know why they're so freaking shook by that. But Alyssa says if she wins HOH, she wants to put up Sarah Beth and Kyland against each other. She's talking about how it's going to be so funny because Sarah Beth is going to have her fake crying going on. It would be pretty wild. But Xavier and Alyssa agree they're going to vote for Christian to stay no matter what. They're not doing this voting with the house crap, even if they know the votes are not there. And of course, Xavier wants to make sure that Alyssa is going to be locked in to work with him once Christian's gone. He wants to be Alyssa's number one, right? Okay, so they also start asking America to give them a power. I'm sorry, but that's going to be so annoying. I can just see it now. It's going to be so annoying if all the casual viewers vote for Alyssa to get this new power twist, whatever, next week, since she's going to be split up from her showmans. You know that the show could easily be edited to make Alyssa seem like the underdog and like everyone's going to vote for her. Please don't do that. Okay, so anyway, Christian has a long chat on the hammock with Brittany. And he's like got his arm around her and everything. Boo! I feel like he's definitely using it to his advantage that Brittany has a crush on him. So he asks Brittany for updates on Azah's decision because he asked Brittany earlier to talk to Azah, see if she could, try and convince her to keep Christian. So Brittany says, I did talk to Azah, but I don't want to press too hard. She says Azah wants the next few days to think this over. So Christian's like, the next few days? What? Like, we're running out of time here. So Brittany clarifies. She's like, no, I mean, like, tomorrow she'll talk about it with you when you guys have your one-on-one. She's definitely thinking over your offer. Okay. So Christian is then talking about how Sarah Beth is the reason that he's up on the block. It's all her fault. She's a liar. She doesn't even really have a girlfriend in the real world. Oh my God. Leave Shelly alone. I just still can't believe that this is something that he's actually using in his campaign. It's freaking wild. So Christian, during this conversation, also shares that he has a plan Z ready to go if necessary. And he will be enacting plan Z if Azah does not take the deal, if Azah is not on board to keep him. So he's not giving away all the details yet because he says it's going to be better if you don't know about it beforehand. But he does let Brittany know that this plan Z is going to be bad for two people, Sarah Beth and Kyland. I would argue that it's going to be bad for another person, but we'll get there. So Brittany is nervous. She's like, what is this plan Z? What is it? So Christian says, you don't have to worry. You're my final two. I'm not going to do anything to hurt your game. So eventually he does reveal that he says, basically, I know Tiff is paranoid about something, and I'm going to fuel that paranoia. I was like, where's the next page? New book. Okay, so he is referring to Tiffany being paranoid that Sarah Beth is America's player. So his plan Z is to tell Tiffany that he overheard Kyland asking Sarah Beth if he gets half of the money now since he knows her secret. So this is some made up bullshit. But he wants to make it seem like Sarah Beth is in fact America's player and is getting extra money for making it to jury. Oh boy. I'm really curious how this would work with Tiffany, but the other person I was saying it would mess up their game, I think would be Tiffany, because she's gonna run wild with this shit, and I think she could really sewer her own game with it. But Christian is hoping that this will convince Tiffany to vote out Sarah Beth. Whoa. That's gonna be some wild crap, and Big Brother's really gonna have to do some crazy editing to try and fit that all in the episode to explain what the hell happened. But anyway, after Brittany was talking to Azah in the yacht club bedroom, she's telling Azah all about the conversation that she just had with Christian about Plan Z and like, what the hell is this? And Brittany is also talking about how worried she is that Sarah Beth is going to target her next week if she wins HOH. Target you? What? So she's really paranoid about it though. But Brittany at the same time says she realizes that Christian and Alyssa are a strong duo and they have to be split up. Preferably before jury. You don't want that duo and jury together. So Azah says, you don't have to worry. The whole entire house is going to be targeting Sarah Beth next week. But Brittany is just really paranoid that this next HOH is going to be a mental competition since they just had an endurance. And she feels like Sarah Beth is going to win and take her out. So Brittany also brings up how Christian kept them off the block when he was HOH. He didn't have to do that. So that was really cool of him. She appreciates that. She says, my vote isn't changing, but I'm terrified for what could happen next week with Sarah Beth staying here. So Christian is putting a lot of pressure on Brittany. He talked to her again and he's asking her, have you been telling people that you're not voting for me to stay? Because I was just talking to Claire and she was telling me that I might not have the votes that I think that I have. So Brittany's like, what? No, what? You're crazy. So Christian says he wants Brittany to gather up all of his potential voters and make sure that they're all locked in, because they're not all going to be honest with each other if Christian is present. So he wants Brittany to really spearhead that and take care of it for him. No. Why don't you do your own work? That's a little ridiculous to ask her to do that. It's insane. But anyway, moving on. There was some freaking drama last night. Brittany, Azah, and Tiffany were in the yacht club bedroom, and Tiffany is really annoyed that Christian keeps asking about her vote. She says, he keeps bugging me because he thinks that he has all these Joker votes. And she's basically saying, like, you guys need to stop lying to him. You guys are liars. Stop it. And she says, I'm going to have to tell him that he doesn't have your votes so that he'll leave me alone. Whoa. So Azah is like, wow, Brittany's in a really tough position right now. Like, we need to support her. And Tiffany says, well, I'm in a tough position too. It's really unfair to me that he keeps coming to me asking me about my vote just because you guys don't want to be honest with him. So you need to tell him that he does not have the votes, and then he'll leave all of us alone. Oh my God. So Big D joins this conversation eventually, and things start getting a little tense with this group. Tiffany is telling Brittany, you don't have to be under this pressure. Just tell him you're not voting for him to stay. It's not right that he's putting all this on you. So Brittany is afraid like she's going to be getting all the backlash from this because she promised earlier in the week that Christian would have her vote. So she's like crying a little bit. It's freaking wild. So after this conversation, Big D was talking to the cameras outside, and he says, I need to trust what Philly is telling me to do, because he's from Philly. He says, my instincts are going off right now. What would the Derek at home do? Because I feel like popping off right now. So Big D says, honestly, he wants Sarah Beth to win HOH next week and send Tiffany out. He says, I am so heated. I'm so pissed. He says, you're going to try to manipulate me and my team because you're being hassled about your vote. Tell Christian yourself that you don't want to keep him and to leave you alone. He says, Tiffany is a grown-ass woman. She's just trying to cover her ass right now. Oh my God, there's more cracks in that Cookout Alliance. Oh my God. Okay. So Big D says he's trying to keep his word, to the cookout, but he's really worried about Tiffany. He's not sure he can go the distance with Tiffany. Okay, so a little later, Big D is talking to Azah outside, and Big D is saying he's over the cookout. Or at least Tiffany. He's over Tiffany. He wants to even put Tiffany up as a pawn next week to be like, don't mess with me. Really send her a message. So Azah tells him, yeah, go for it. Once we're in jury, like, do whatever you want. But also, Azah's reminding him, we are here for something bigger than just this game. We know what we're here for, right? They want to see an African-American house guest win the whole season. So Azah makes a good point here. She's like, wow, you know who's the most grown out of this whole alliance? Hannah. And they wanted to keep her out of it in the beginning of the game because she was the youngest and they weren't sure if she would really like get what they were trying to do. But no, she gets it. She is for this. The rest of us, we have our own issues. It's a mess. Yeah. So Big D is talking about how he didn't like the way that Tiffany was talking to them, trying to tell them what to do, trying to tell them how to play their games. And he says, that doesn't sound like somebody who wants to work with us. And he's saying he does not want to work with Tiffany anymore. Damn. So then this morning, Azah and Big D still fed up with Tiffany. You know, there was always that possibility that maybe they would like sleep it off and then they wake up and be like, no, cook out forever. But no, they are not happy with Tiffany. Uh-oh. And they also keep telling Brittany, you don't owe Christian anything. If you want to tell him how you're voting, you go ahead and tell him. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. So Azah, on the other hand, is planning on telling Christian that she's voting him out because she's done with this. She's sick of it. Okay. So Azah talks to Christian in the have-not room. And unfortunately, we did not get to see the beginning of this conversation. It wasn't on feeds. But when the feeds do switch to them, Azah was talking about how she feels expendable. And she tells Christian, like, I'm open to still having a one-on-one with you later, but it certainly sounds like she's saying, I'm voting you out. So Azah tells him, you have other people that you're closer to who you can try and get votes from. But, like, she's not that person. So Azah says, I don't want to go against Derek X and what he wants this week. So then Christian still, you know, he's practiced his arguments. Xavier, the lawyer, was helping him to prepare this. So he's like, let me just like share my arguments anyway. So Christian says, I can be a shield and a warrior for you. And he says, Sarah Beth, Kyland, and Derek X are a strong trio that needs to be broken up. And he says he will target that trio. So Azah says it's a sound argument. You know, you're making good points, but I'm going to stick with my decision for now. Yeah. Okay. So after the conversation, Christian is freaking out in the have-not room. He's like flip-flopping around on his bed. He's just like, so Alyssa and Xavier come in and they're asking Christian how it went. And at that point, he's just sitting there like, so they realize it wasn't good. But Christian says, I'm effing going home. She's not taking the deal. He says, everyone is too effing scared of these effing people in the house. And Alyssa's like, well, what did Azah say? And Christian says, she's going with the house. No one has an effing argument against me. They do, though. They have a lot of arguments against you. You're a competition beast. You're a member of the Kings who are still intact right now. You are in a showmance. You have a social game. You know, how many people have said like, oh, I love Christian so much. He's like a puppy dog. I don't want to get rid of him. These are all huge reasons to get rid of him, but he just cannot see that. He doesn't realize why people want to take him out, which is wild. But Christian is yelling and going on and on about how everybody is a bunch of morons, a coward. And he says, I'm going to go home because I didn't take Derek X out last week, and I totally could have. So Xavier says, I guess people have just been telling us what we want to hear all week. That is correct. And he says people probably had their minds made up right when Christian went up on the block. I mean, I think they had their minds made up before that. But it sounds like some people still don't have their minds made up from what I'm seeing in the chat right now. But yeah, Alyssa says America is going to have one boring ass season if Christian goes. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I would not call this boring. So Christian says, there's no point in me campaigning. You know, it looks like I'm going to be going. So Xavier is still encouraging him to campaign later. Don't give up. You never know what could happen. And we're seeing, like, you never know what could happen. And Christian is embarrassed that he is probably not going to make it to jury. So meanwhile, on the flip side, Sarah Beth is quietly checking in with people, and she's getting reassurances from people that she's staying. All right, so we'll see. Is Christian going to break out Plan Z today? Maybe he already did. I didn't get to watch his conversation with Tiffany right before the spoiler today, so I don't know if he already started that plan or what. But tomorrow is the eviction. It looked like Christian would be going by a vote of 7-2, but I feel like, you know, we're finally getting a Waffle Wednesday here. There have been so many House votes already and House targets, but now we're getting a Waffle Wednesday. So buckle up because it's going to be a long night. Yeah, it's going to be a long night. Tiffany is not done with her shenanigans. Okay, you guys are saying Plan Z is in effect, so okay, it's gonna be crazy.
Baby talks.
Oh boy. But you never know. It could flip back later. Who knows what these people are gonna do? But I want to thank all of our super chatters so much. You guys are amazing, and I see you were out in full force today, so we really, really appreciate that. So Sheena123, thank you so much. Jefferson Tucker, I'm just going to thank you now for all of these because you are so awesome, and thank you for giving the updates throughout the spoiler. Daisha, I'm sorry, I almost said your name wrong, but thank you for telling me how to pronounce it. Daisha Dawn, thank you so much for the super chat. Louise Dory, thank you so much for the super chat.
You missed her on when you started.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Louise, but thank you for the super chat. I get distracted really easily, so when I have like notes in front of me and live chat, I'm just like,
Jefferson Tucker had like 5 million in there, so you probably just flipped.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry about that. Dawn MH 302, thank you so much. Alex Paredes, thank you so much. Dr. Dave Allen, thank you so much. He says, I don't know where you find the time, but glad that you do. Honestly, hi! I'm running ragged right now.
He's always doing most of your work.
Yeah. This season has been over the top, time consuming. I am so exhausted, but I'm so glad that you're at least enjoying it. So thank you for watching, and thank you for the super chat. Shane Shaji, thank you so much. He says, you guys rock. Been a fan for years. I appreciate your hard work. Want a Britney HOH so bad.
Me too.
I'd love to see it. It would be chaos, and it would be amazing. Sunflower Seeds, thank you so much. I'm so glad you love our updates. Fruit Loop Dingus, thank you. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the super chat. Is it Binham's Business? Binham's or Bynum's Business? Thank you so much for the super chat. Adley Bruges, thank you so much. And Adley says, I love chaos. Well, you're getting your fill today. That is for sure. Thank you for the super chat. And Jefferson Tucker says, breaking news, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Xavier and Tiffany are flipping the vote to keep Christian. Oh, here's the thing though. Like, are they have the votes, or they're just trying to flip the vote? Because I'm trying to think now. So Xavier, Tiffany, Alyssa. I'm assuming Tiffany comes with Claire. Who would their final vote be? Because on the other side, you have Kyland, Hannah, and then the 3 jokers. So that would be 5. But I guess, I don't know. Would Hannah side with Derek X, or would Hannah side with Tiffany? It's tough to say. I don't know.
I think Hannah's going to side with Derek X.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that would be super screwed up if Tiffany flipped this vote without Derek X's approval. Like, if she convinced him to be on board with this, that's one thing. But if she went against him, oof, that's dirty. That'd be dirty. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out over the next day. But we have another super chat here from Nonye N. I'm hoping I said your name right. Thank you so much for the super chat. You're awesome. Okay, Jefferson Tucker is now saying that Big D said, F that, we're voting Christian out. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here because we got the show starting in 20 minutes and I need a little breather before we start. And I'm sure you guys want to go watch the live feed. So, I'll be back. We'll both be back tonight for the episode recap, but I will be back
later.
Yeah, it might be a little bit later, but I will be back tomorrow to talk about all the craziness that's happening right now. So
I feel like a plate of lobster has been dropped in our laps.
I don't like lobster. I'm vegan.
Exactly.
All right. See you guys later. And until next time, thank you all for being here. And until next time, much love.